Hello guys, this is Deepika from mytutorialrack.com. In this tutorial, I will assume myself as John and I'm going to go ahead and add my pink dot page to the public repository. And let's see how we're going to go ahead and proceed. So I'm not going to go ahead and make changes into the master. I'm going to go ahead and create a branch here, a new branch for my pink page. So I'm going to go ahead and check out as pink page, and now I will go ahead and create my pink.html page. So I'll go to my index and I'm going to save a file. I'll call it as inside of John's repository. So I'll go inside here and I'm going to say pink.html and then save. So now this is my pink.html file. So these are the changes that I've added, or this is the contents of the pink.html page. If you want to look it up, you can always go ahead and look it up in the browser. So we'll go to the pink page and we'll open this page in the browser. So now if I go ahead and open with the browser, it says it's pink page and it has a link to go back to the index page. Now similarly, I'm going to add a link to my pink page, a link inside of the index page. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and open my index page here. So I'm going to go ahead and open this page in the notepad and I'm going to go ahead and add the link for the pink page here below this Middle East thing. So I'm going to go ahead and say the link for the pink page and it will say the pink page. So these are my changes here. So now if I go back and refresh, you will see there is a link for the pink page, and also if you click on that link it takes you to the pink page, and if you want to go back to the index page you can go ahead and click. So now we have done our changes. So John is all set to submit these changes, but before that he needs to go ahead and commit and stage and commit the snapshot. So if you go ahead and look at the status of the repository, it tells you this file has been modified and a new file has been added. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and add our pink.html and index.html together. Now we have added them to the staging. Now let's go ahead and look at the status. It tells you to commit these two changes. So we will go ahead and commit the changes. We'll say -m and add the pink page. So now I have added a pink page here. So now I'm all set. John has all set and he has created his pink page. Now this pink page is not a part of the official release yet, because our official release is this one. If you go back to this is your official release and this does not have the pink page that John added. So basically we need to push it. Okay, it's not that simple. We do not want a third-party contributor to directly push changes into the public repository. I want somebody to review the changes because he's not aware of the pattern and what design pattern, etc. we are using, complexity of the project. So I want it to review first, and then if I see everything is good, then I'm going to go ahead and push the change to my official. So first thing we're going to do is we will create a public repository for John's. Okay, and then let him push the changes to that public repository, and then I will get the changes from that John's public repository into my Git repo, and I'll verify them. If everything looks good, if that code does not affect or does not break anything, then I'm going to go ahead and push those changes to the official public repository. Okay, so right now in the real-time scenario, John is going to have his own account, Bitbucket account, but just to save time, we're not going to go ahead and do that. We will create a repository for John here. So now we're going to go back here. We're going to go to the repository section and we're going to go ahead and create a repository for John. And we will name it as John's repo. This is the repository. This is not a private repository. Discussion, we can say John's repository here. The language, the same HTML, CSS, and create the repository. So now I have created the repository especially for John. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push the John's changes into this repository. So first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and make the connection with this John's public repository. So if you go ahead and look at the remote, there's a connection with the origin. Let's look at what origin connection he has. So if you go ahead and look at the path, Okay, so it has connection with the MyGit repo, the public repository, but I do not want John to directly push the changes to this MyGit repo. I want John to push the changes to his public repository. So first thing, we're going to go ahead and establish the connection. So to establish the connection, I'm going to say git remote add, and then we'll get the path for his repository, which is provided here, John's repo, and I'm going to go ahead and paste the path here, dot git. So now once you hit that, I'm going to go ahead and connect to John's public, but let's go ahead and give a name also. So here I'm going to say John public is the name of the, like it's like alias, you can say like another name here, and we're going to go ahead and say this. Now if you go ahead and hit this command, now you will see that so now he has both the connection, MyGit as well as John repo. But now since we have this connection, that's fine. We only have to push the changes to this repository. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push. See, the point here to note here is I have not merged the John's changes to the master because master has to be stable, and I'm still not sure the person who's going to review the code change, he's still not sure that whatever the John made is the right changes. So I'm not pushing it, I'm not merging into the master. I'm directly trying to push this into the John's public repository, and I'm going to say which branch, the pink that page branch. This is what I'm pushing. Right now, if you go ahead and look at the source, this particular repository is empty. Now once we hit this command, git push John's public, push it to the John's public repository. Pink page is the name of the branch that we want to push. Now what is this John's public? John's public is nothing but this particular repository that we created, the public repository that we created for John. So once you hit that, so it has pushed the changes. Now if you go back here, if you just refresh this page, come back to the source, you will see all the changes that were there in the pink page branch got present here, and you can see there is a pink.html as well. So far what we have done, John made the change. What first thing? John made the change. Then what the next thing we did? We created the public repository for John. And then next thing what we did, we created the public repository for John, and then we pushed the changes to the John's public repository. Okay, this is what we have done so far. Now what I'm going to do is I wanted to get the changes, so I'm going to go ahead and review the John's changes. Okay, so first thing is I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my Git repo here. And right now I'm inside of my Git repo, and what I'm going to do is, first thing, right now I have a connection between this my Git repo, so I need to fetch the changes from John's public repository. So I need to go ahead and add the connection with John's repository. So how will I do it? I'll go ahead and say git remote add John. That's the repository I'm going to go ahead and connect with. And what is the URL? This is the URL to connect to. So I'm going to go ahead and provide the URL here, .git. So now what I'm saying is I'm trying to make the connection with the John's public repository. Go ahead and hit enter. Now if you go ahead and say git remote --v, now you have connection with two repositories. One is my Git repo, which is the official public repository, and this is John's repo, which is the public repository created for John's changes. Now what I'm going to do is, right now I do not have John's changes. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and fetch everything from John. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fetch everything from John. I got everything from John here. Now if you go ahead and look at the branches that I have, these are the branches that I got. John's pink page I have access to. So now first thing I'm going to do is I will see what changes he made. So first thing is compare my master with John's John's pink page, not the master, because master does not have the pink page yet. And you can see there is a pink page got added and there is a change in the index. So now we can see that, okay, there is a pink page got added, there's index HTML, and then this one. So now we're good what changes he made. I'm satisfied with the changes he made. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get those changes. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and merge the changes from the John's pink page branch into our master, because we are satisfied with whatever John changed. He was supposed to change 2 files, index and pink page. He did that. Now we are all ready to do. Okay, so there is a conflict. That's fine. So we're going to go back here and I'm going to go ahead and open the index page. And I'll say, okay, it has been added probably by the head. So let's go ahead and remove this. Go ahead and save it. And then I'll go back to my bash, git status. File has been changed, git. So the conflict was because of the index page. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add our index.html. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the commit here, add. Okay, so now I'll do a merge. Currently this particular my-get repo, I'm going to go ahead and merge the changes from the John's pink page. Okay, good. So we got all the changes now, whatever is there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to push these changes to the public repository. So we already have the connection. So we just need to say right now, if you go back to your public repository here, so this is the other repository. If you go to my-get repo, if you look at the source, you do not see the pink.html, and if you go ahead and open this file, you will also not see that there is a link for the pink page. So there is no link here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and push, because now since I have verified the changes from John, I have merged those changes into my master. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push those changes to the public repository. So how will I do that? I will say git push origin master. So who is my origin here? Let's go ahead and first look at the origin. So -v. So we have 2, 1. So let's go ahead and remove the John's one. So we can say git remote rm John. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the Johns. Now if you go ahead and look, so there's no confusion. So now there's only one origin, which is this one, my-get repo. So now I'm going to go ahead and push my changes to the origin from what? From my master. This is the command to do that. So git push origin master. Once you do that, if you come back to refresh this source, you're going to see a pink page got added. And also if you go ahead and open this index page, you will see that there is a pink page link have been added here. So this is called as the distributed workflow. See, John has its own local repository. We created a public repository for John. Then I, as my-get repo owner, verified the changes, got the changes from John's public repository, verified those changes, and then I pushed those changes into the official public repository. So this is how the distributed workflows work.